All right, hey guys, Jason here. We are back. We're going to do another Q&A session. We are driving. You can see it is rainy, nasty, and gloomy, and we are heading out to go do some hunting, but we're going to knock out a Q&A session on the Ford F150. I've done a lot of videos on Ford lately, and it stirred up a whole bunch of questions in this stuff. So first one right off the bat, as far as the 2026s, F-150 2026s. Apparently, as of just a day or so ago, they are open for ordering through the dealerships, but they are not yet available on the build site of any of that kind of thing. I did hear some commenters saying that a few changes that have happened is the STX version is no longer available with the 5-liter Coyote for 2026, and that sucks pretty bad. Again, Ford forcing you to package packing, okay? Ford is notorious for technical cost reduction and package packing. And if you want a 5-liter now, you got to go XLT or bigger. They will no longer let you get it in the STX, which is what I'm hearing. I have not yet verified because the build site is not open yet, which is a shame since there's already, you can get Rams, Chevys, everybody else has already got 2026s on the lots, but Ford is just taking their sweet old time with this because they got such a backlog of 2025s. But we hear that STX is no longer an option, and I hear that there is a new middle trim tremor, which is important. Because as you guys know in my videos, I complain a lot about how Ford gives you two tremor options for the 150. The 401A, and then it's a $12,000 jump to the 402A to get the Torsen axle and bumpers. That's basically what it is, $12,000. Well, I guess they're coming out with a 401B for 2026. It will give you that Torsen for less money. I don't have any more details on it yet. We will see. And I hear the Lariat is getting some more things cut from it like they always do. Technical cost reduction crap that Ford pulls, things that they think you'll not notice and it doesn't matter, and they're going to charge you more money for it. So those are what we got happening there. We will update you with more when we know more on the Ford F-150. The Super Duties have been out, and they're doing great, but we're talking 150s right now. So, but now to answer your other questions, the wet belt in the 5-liter, okay, the 5-liter and the 2.7 wet belt, we get a lot of questions on these. Understand that Ford believes it is a lifetime part, lifetime engine part, but considering Ford thinks that lifetime is 150,000 miles is lifetime of a vehicle, that is when it is recommended that you change that out. It is something that you will have to deal with. If you have a 2.7 or you have a 5.0, and if that wet belt, hold on, big bumps, hold on, there we go, road construction, they got the whole thing ditched out. But if you're buying one of those engines and yours has a wet belt in there, about 150,000 miles, you are going to need to think about replacing that belt. If it goes, it will take out your whole entire motor. If it doesn't go and you need to get it fixed or changed, it's going to be about $5,000. There's no other way around it. It's just a planned maintenance, but it is a lifetime belt thing, they say, but lifetime to them is 150,000 miles. So keep that in mind. You can stretch it if you want to, but if you plan on keeping a vehicle and getting a 150 with a 5.0 or a 2.7, and your intentions are to get it to 250,000 miles, you're probably living on a wing and a prayer if you think you're going to pull that off without grenading that wet belt and it costing you a lot of money. That's my thoughts. So that wet belt is an issue if you're going to keep a Ford 5.0 or a 2.7 for high mileage. And I don't know what year they started. I think it was 22 or 21 or 22 or 23. They started with that wet belt in those. I don't remember which one, but that is when it happened. You can look it up and Google it to see. So, but it is a concern. Next question. Common question, the rake on an F-150, rake is how it tips forward, okay? That is the rake of that truck. Is why do F-150s, why do all Ford trucks rake forward so much? That is how they give you your payload. or your payload and your towing capacity. That is how they get that. By putting that rake forward on that truck, when you load it down, it's going to load to level and they can get away with carrying more stuff in it. In the meantime, you suffer off-road and you suffer in all these conditions by having that much rake and that nose down, but that is why they do it. That is the only reason that Ford does it, is so they can get the high payload and the high towing capacity. You cannot have one without the other, and that's what they do it for. That's why rake is there. Next question we have on here is about the aluminum bodies. Okay, we get this a lot. You know, Ford will never rust because of that. You're right, those bodies do not rust, and they actually hold up very well. Okay, this aluminum body has not been anything new. It's been around for quite a while now, and it has held up absolutely incredible. It is a great thing. It is tricky for insurance companies when you go to repair parts, things like that, yes, but it is holding up very good. There is still all of the underside stuff that can rust, not the body, but you got a lot of other things under there that you got to keep an eye on, especially on Ford. We see so many undercarriage parts, from drive shaft knuckles to differentials that aren't painted to all kinds of things under there that you want to keep an eye on and take care of, and still run fluid film under there. But as for the bodies, you're right, you don't got to worry about it. With any vehicle, if you are in salt zones, some type of wool wax, fluid film's always been my favorite. Make a point to do it every single year, right in the fall, right before winter. Give it a good underwash with the power washer, take it to the car wash and drown everything under there real good and wash it real good. And then once it dries, spray it with fluid film. Takes a half hour and it costs you $50 a year. You know, half hour at a time. Lay some cardboard down on your grass, get underneath there, drown that stuff out, and call it good, and you never have to worry about it anymore. Problem is 100% solved. So that's good. Next question, the motors in the Ford 150. Okay, you have basically, not counting Raptor stuff, but you have three options. You have a 2.7 V6 twin turbo, you have a 3.5 V6 twin turbo, and you have a 5-liter V8 naturally aspirated. Which engine is the best? Coin flip, they're all fantastic. You cannot buy a bad motor in a Ford truck today under any circuit. You can't buy a bad Ford motor in any Ford truck. They're Super Duties, they're Rangers, they're Mavericks, I don't care what it is, the 150s. Ford builds great motors. Okay, there's no doubt about it. Somebody's going to chime and go, it's an engine, you idiot. Motors are electric. Now, you know, we're not getting into that, but I'm calling it a motor. You don't like it, get over it. Get off the channel, then go away. As far as I'm concerned, Ford builds incredible engines, motors. There's no doubt about it. Not one is bad. The 2.7 had a whole bunch of teething issues when it first came out. So did the 3.5, and I'm sure the 5.0 did way back in the day too. And then even with some when they, you know, keep making changes and stuff. But all in all three of them are very high quality, very long-term engines that will do a very good job of getting you well into a past, again, wet belt being the only consideration, but they are all well over 200,000 mile motors with proven proof of that all over the internet. You cannot fail with these engines. They do fantastic. So I don't think there's a bad way to go. The 2.7, believe it or not, is actually my preferred choice of all of them. I like the 5-liter Coyote a lot. It suffers from some issues too, like all motors do. The oil consumption is definitely one big issue on the 5.0, but the 2.7 to me it saves a lot of money. It does everything you need a full-size truck to do. If you need a full-size truck to do more than you can do with a 2.7-liter twin turbo, then it's time to get into an HD truck. You're in the wrong truck. So that's my opinion. So for me, I think that Ford 2.7-liter EcoBoost is by far my favorite engine they have. The 3.5 is amazing with a lot of power. It's just much more costly and not worth it to me. I think the 2.7 is where the beauty lies, in my opinion. We got a big old tractor coming by here. Hang on here. We're gonna give him the road. Let me get right up here and we're gonna give him the road because we got a big dude coming. We're gonna pop right over here where we can get out of the way. There you go. We're giving him that. Big tractor coming. Big tractor coming through. We're gonna give him some room here because he's gonna run out of ditch. Hold on a sec. All right. Now, so motor-wise, like I said, I love the 2.7. Transmission issues, yes, Ford has got transmission issues. GMC's got transmission issues. It is what it is. Ford has also got 130 recalls, and that is a problem. Fortunately, the trucks are not so affected by this as many of the other Ford vehicles are, but it is a very big deal. Achilles heel of Ford, like all manufacturers today, honestly, the biggest problem they suffer from, every one of them, straight up, is the electrical architectures in these trucks today. There's so many wires, so many wiring harnesses that are, so everything is a problem. Everything is an electrical issue today, software issue. They're basically wired computers, and it's disgusting is what it is. And that is one of the biggest problems we have with these trucks today, by far, is the BS we have to deal with the wiring issues and the things that come along with that. So there you go, food for thought on it. There's some little Q&A for you on the F-150. I know we cut this one kind of short, but we're also coming into my hunting area here. So, and I will do more of these later on. We got the 26s come out, and maybe we'll do some updated stuff on this on there for you. So questions, comments, anything you got, put them below. Thanks for watching.